Netflix has just filed a $100 million lawsuit against Meghan Markle, and the reason why is sending shockwaves through Hollywood and the royal family alike. This isn't a rumor. It's a legal battle that's exposing secrets no one was supposed to see. In the past, Meghan and Harry were the golden couple of Netflix, handed a massive production deal, red carpets, full creative control. But now, something has gone terribly wrong. Sources close to the case say Meghan breached major contract terms, and what she did behind the scenes, using royal titles, manipulating production teams, and allegedly fabricating key elements of her upcoming content, might just cost her everything. And the craziest part? Netflix doesn't want you to know the real reason they're pulling the plug. But we found out. Stay with us, because in the next few minutes, you're going to hear the full story. What Meghan did, how Netflix reacted, and what this means for the future of the Sussex brand. You won't believe what was in the contract, or who might get dragged into court next. It all began in 2020. Meghan Markle and Prince Harry signed a multi-million-dollar content deal with Netflix. Reportedly worth up to $100 million, it was presented as a game-changing partnership, a fresh start for the couple after stepping away from royal duties, and a golden ticket for Netflix to access the most famous ex-royals in the world. On paper, the deal looked clean. Netflix would fund documentaries, scripted series, and exclusive behind-the-scenes content. In return, Meghan and Harry would deliver compelling stories. Their way. But behind closed doors, things started getting messy almost immediately. Insiders now claim there was confusion from the very beginning about what Meghan and Harry were actually supposed to produce, and what Netflix was legally entitled to. One source said it was all vision and no structure. They wanted total creative freedom, but forgot Netflix still had the final say. And it wasn't just creative tension. There were early warnings about budget overages, missed deadlines, and questionable use of Netflix resources for side projects that weren't even part of the agreement. Now, those issues are all coming back, in the form of a $100 million lawsuit. Stay tuned, because in the next section, we'll break down exactly what Meghan allegedly did that crossed the line, and what evidence Netflix claims to have. It's worse than anyone expected. So what exactly did Meghan Markle do that pushed Netflix to take legal action? According to leaked documents and insider reports, the heart of the lawsuit centers on one thing: unauthorized content development. Meghan allegedly used Netflix funding, crew, and resources to begin quietly developing content that was never approved under their agreement. Not only that, she reportedly shopped parts of this content to other platforms behind Netflix's back. One of those platforms? Allegedly a direct competitor. That's right. Netflix claims Meghan violated exclusivity clauses by attempting to build her own brand, separate from the Netflix deal, using materials paid for by the streaming giant. And that's not all. Internal Netflix emails now circulating online suggest that Meghan was warned multiple times, in writing, to stick to the agreed terms. But the emails were either ignored or met with vague promises that creative freedom was part of the spirit of the deal. Netflix disagreed, and now they've brought receipts. Legal analysts say if even half of these allegations are proven in court, Meghan could be forced to pay damages in the tens of millions. But the lawsuit isn't just about money. It's about trust, power, and betrayal. Coming up next, we'll dive into how Meghan reacted when she found out about the lawsuit, and why some say she expected it all along. When the lawsuit hit the headlines, most expected Meghan to panic. But instead, insiders say she was eerily calm. According to a close source who spoke anonymously, Meghan was already preparing for some kind of legal confrontation, as if she knew this day would come. The moment the story broke, her team sprang into action with one goal: control the narrative before Netflix could. Almost overnight, headlines shifted. Tabloids were flooded with stories about Meghan's creative vision, misunderstood brilliance, and claims that Netflix was the one trying to silence her voice. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Instead of issuing a traditional statement, Meghan did something bold. She scheduled a surprise interview with a major U.S. network. No press release, no legal rebuttal, just cameras, lights, and Meghan's side of the story, framed as a victim of corporate betrayal. Critics call it a strategic distraction. Supporters say it's a brave stand against a billion-dollar bully. But behind the polished exterior, sources inside the royal circle claim Meghan is furious and privately terrified of what Netflix might reveal in court. Because remember, this isn't just about a contract. Netflix reportedly has unedited footage, emails, and private recordings that were never meant to be seen by the public. And if they go public with that, it could shatter everything she's built. Next, we explore exactly what's at stake and what Meghan stands to lose if this goes to trial. Stay with us. To most people, a $100 million lawsuit sounds like a financial disaster. But for Meghan Markle, the money might be the least of her worries. Because what's really on the line here isn't just her bank account, it's her brand, her reputation, and everything she's tried to build since stepping away from the royal family. Let's break it down. Netflix was more than just a paycheck. It was supposed to be the launchpad for Meghan's global reinvention. Her docuseries, branded projects, and behind-the-scenes footage were carefully designed to reshape public opinion, reframe the royal narrative, and position Meghan as a powerful media force in her own right. But if Netflix wins this case, they could legally expose raw footage that never aired. Conversations, private moments, and unfiltered interviews that were cut for a reason. Clips that could contradict her polished public image, or worse, reveal internal conflicts with Harry himself. And then there's the issue of credibility. If a global giant like Netflix claims breach of contract and wins, it doesn't just hurt Meghan's current deals, it sends a signal to future investors, publishers, studios, and brands. She can't be trusted. Sources say several companies are already quietly backing away from planned partnerships, just in case the lawsuit gets ugly. And with the British press circling like sharks, royal insiders whispering behind the scenes, and Meghan's silence growing louder by the day, you have to wonder, is this the beginning of the end? Or just the start of something even darker? In the next section, we'll look at what Harry's role is in all this, and why some believe he's trying to pull away fast. While Meghan faces the heat of this $100 million legal storm, there's one person whose silence is starting to speak volumes: Prince Harry. At first, Harry was her rock, standing beside her through every headline, every scandal, every explosive Oprah interview. But lately, he's been nowhere to be seen. Insiders close to the couple say there's been a noticeable shift. Harry has stopped attending meetings, pulled back from media planning, and even declined an offer to appear in Meghan's upcoming projects. And what's more, Netflix never filed this lawsuit against Harry and Meghan. No, only Meghan's name is on it. That's raised eyebrows. And serious questions. Is Harry distancing himself on purpose? Some believe he's trying to protect what little is left of his image, especially with the royal family reportedly leaving the door slightly ajar for his return. But not if he's tangled up in a PR disaster that could go global. Others think he might have known about the Netflix breach but chose to stay out of it, either by design or denial. And now that it's public, he's caught in the middle of a media firestorm, trying to support his wife, but also quietly weighing the long-term cost of standing too close. Because if Meghan goes down alone, it gives Harry a chance to say, "That wasn't me." But if he stays silent too long, it may look like betrayal, or worse, confirmation. Coming up next, Meghan's former staff are suddenly breaking their silence, and what they're saying could change everything. Just when you thought the story couldn't get any more explosive, Meghan's former staff have started talking, and they aren't holding back. According to multiple leaks from inside sources, at least 2 ex-team members from Archewell, Meghan and Harry's media company, have come forward, claiming they warned her months ago that her Netflix decisions were legally questionable. One insider reportedly told UK media, "There were red flags from day one. Contracts were rushed, deadlines were missed, and Meghan was constantly pushing to keep full creative control, even when Netflix pushed back." Another ex-staff member allegedly described the working environment as chaotic, fast-moving, and dangerously unfiltered. They said Meghan was laser-focused on building her image, sometimes at the expense of legal guidelines or company policy. And here's the twist. One former employee even hinted that a whistleblower inside the team may have tipped Netflix off about the breach. That's right, the lawsuit might not have come from a discovery, but from someone on the inside. So the question is no longer if Meghan made a mistake, it's who knew about it, and who was willing to stay silent. Because if these allegations are true, this isn't just about a lawsuit anymore. It's about power, pride, and people who finally had enough. And next, in our final section, we'll reveal how Meghan's entire empire could collapse if this lawsuit moves forward, and whether there's still a way out. So where does this leave Meghan Markle now? With a potential $100 million lawsuit looming over her head, a shaken relationship with one of the world's biggest streaming platforms, and public opinion turning colder by the day, it's clear she's at a crossroads. The image she spent years building is starting to fracture, and if even half of what's rumored is true, this could be the beginning of her most dramatic downfall yet. But here's the twist. Netflix hasn't said their final word, and neither has Meghan. What happens next might redefine not just her career, but how far a public figure can push the boundaries of truth, brand, and loyalty. If you're as shocked by this as we are, make sure to subscribe right now so you don't miss what comes next. Hit that like button to support real stories, and drop a comment. Do you think Meghan went too far this time? Because the next chapter could be even bigger.